thing on Trump, and I know you didn't want to talk about, he's the only politician that actually does what he said when he did in his campaign.
What's he done that he said he was going to do?
Well, he said he was going to build a border.
Has he built a wall?
He hasn't built it yet.
Right, so what's he done that he said he was going to do?
He's bringing in protected things to protect the American steel industry.
He's doing what?
He's trying to bring in
the tariffs.
Tariffs and
yeah, you've seen that Harley Davidson is moving production out of America as a result of the tariff battle.
Yes, I saw that in today's paper.
Did he say that was going to happen in the election?
No, he didn't.
Right, so it's the wall that hasn't been built yet, and the tariffs that are seeing American manufacturers move out of America.
I'm not a fan of Trump.
Don't come on and tell me he's the only politician that delivers in his what he said he was going to deliver in his campaign. Did he say anything about becoming the world's child catcher in chief? Can you remember him saying that during the campaign?
No.
No, me neither.
You talk about rights. Your very opening gambit this morning was he's going to go after abortion rights now, without actually acknowledging the obscenity of aborting your baby. What about the rights of the baby?
So you agree with me?
No, I do not.
Well, he is going to change that legislation.
If he stops it...
What are you cross about? You're agreeing with me. I said he was, and you want him to.
Yes, but you said it in a manner that as if you objected to it. No, also...
Well, that's because I think women should decide what happens to their bodies, not you.
But it's not their bodies, it's someone else's
body. All right,
bodies.
OK. Well, let's disagree on that then. You carry on with other reasons to be cheerful.
You talked about inner rage. Yes, I am filled with rage.
I know.
But I am not filled with rage for the reasons you think. For the past 8 years, I have been filled with rage because of this demonic, despotic, satanic dynasty that is the Obamas and the Clintons, who have utterly destroyed the American family. The proper conservative...
I have to warn you, Donny, just in the interest of openness, a lot of people now will be, in fact, I could probably read you a couple, they'll be claiming that we deliberately filter our calls to put on people who sound a bit mad, and we deliberately don't let anyone on who can make a cogent argument, and it's all very carefully filtered. I just want to clarify, A, that is not the case here, and B, I'm quite insulted on your behalf.
I don't care. Well, this is the first time I've ever called you, and I waited about an hour, but I don't mind. Yeah.
Demonic, despotic dynasty, the Obamas and the Clintons.
The corrupt Clintons, Hillary Clinton has never produced a thing in her life. A family who has made billions from Saudi money, money from the media, whereas Trump at least has earned his money, at least he produces something. Everything that can come from Trump can only be good. The Clintons, the Obamas have obliterated the American ethic entirely.
How did they do that? How did they do that? And also, while you're at it, why are Obama's approval ratings 57% at the moment?
I don't care. That's young people.
Okay.
Do you know something, James?
A few things. Not as much as you, though, Donny.
James, listen, I wouldn't give young people the vote. They're too stupid to vote. That's it. You don't have any wisdom about you until you're in your 30s, almost 40, for this generation. Young people should not be given the vote. You know, I'll tell you what to do.
Yes.
Go and look at some footage of a rapper called JC and Beyonce just recently. They spewed the most hateful filth I have ever heard on stage. And guess what? Hillary Clinton came on amid great cheers. This is the woman that you would have as president. A woman who embraces rap stars who are the very antithesis of everything that is right in the family. And you would rather she was president. And you dare to call Donald Trump the Antichrist. Whatever he is...
Hey? I think you're the one using the religious imagery, but if you want to talk about family values, how do you feel about Donald Trump saying that he'd probably date his own daughter if he wasn't her father?
That is tongue-in-cheek remarks. That means nothing. I don't care what he did.
But rappers preach the gospel from the stage. When Donald Trump says that he'd date his own daughter if they weren't related, that's tongue-in-cheek.
Rappers didn't say that. Rappers... I'll tell you what, go on.
Donny, I've really enjoyed listening to you, and I think you should probably go and have a little lie down now.
Yeah, well, we'll go and have a lie down, and I'll rest the sleep. I'll rest the sleep of the innocent.
Yes, you have the sleep of the innocent. Are you being tongue-in-cheek now, or is that a real person?
Someone proper is in power now. Someone good, someone right is in power now. The nightmare has ended.
There you go. That's better, isn't it? It's not till January. You do not... Oh, no, I shouldn't tell him that, should I? You know it's not until January. The despotic, demonic dynasty is still there until January.
Yes, and I will enjoy this honeymoon period while it lasts.
Good. God bless, Donny.
God bless.
11 minutes after 11, Irony just died.
I think it's racist what he said to the four ladies in Congress there. in any way, shape or form. They're all Americans. And he's just pointing out that their disruptive activities, I mean, they're hardline socialists, mate. They're left-wing extremists. And they're trying to change American politics from within. And he's just pointing that out.
And what's he trying to do when he took over from Barack Obama? Was he trying to carry on doing politics exactly the same as Obama did, or was he trying to change it from within?
Well, Obama didn't successfully change it from within, so it's
not a trick question. Did Donald Trump seek to carry on conducting politics in America in a fashion identical to his predecessor, or did he seek to change it from within by becoming president?
I know it's not a trick question, and I'll say exactly what I just said again. Obama didn't change American society like he wanted to, so Donald Trump is just re-establishing American capitalism.
Pardon?
You heard.
Donald Trump is re-establishing American capitalism. 51 months of consecutive growth, all of which began with Obama.
No, Obama's taking credit for growth. That's absolute hogwash, and you know it.
Stuart, can you count?
Mate, you are in sympathy with these ladies in Congress. They're trying to transform the country
Stuart, you're
into
on the
a socialist
radio.
country. Don't interrupt me, mate. Don't interrupt me. You are on the side of these women because you would favour socialist society, a left-wing society as well.
Go on, mate. I'm not interrupting you. I'm waiting for you to say something sensible.
No, you just can't come back with anything. Mate, you're in sympathy with these women, and
Name them.
Name them. The media.
Name them.
Well, AOC, for a start.
What does that stand for?
Alexandria Occasional Cortex.
No. So you know all about their politics, you don't even know their names, and you're on national radio having your pants pulled down.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Omar, Presley.
Mate, you've got your phone out. You've got your phone out now.
Yes,
you come on national radio, claiming that you know everything about their policy. So, which policy do you think most demonstrates their socialist tendencies, Stuart?
High taxes beyond all belief, and ploughing that money into public services.
Mate, you can't have high taxes under socialism because everybody earns the same. So let's try again. Which policy do you think best espouses their socialist tendencies?
No, everyone earns the same after the socialist template's successful, which means destroying the middle class.
So they don't want socialism, then they want high taxes for high earners.
Are you telling me those women don't want socialism in America?
Stuart, I'm telling you, you don't even know their names. Stuart, you don't even know their names. Did you just say? Did you just say fifth column?
I knew you'd ask me.
Yes, but you looked it up on your phone. Stop interrupting. Sorry, Stuart. Carry on.
Right, I knew you'd ask me their names because you couldn't come back with anything, so I looked on the screen on my phone, yes.
Why didn't you know their names before you rang in?
Because I just looked them up and researched them, mate, and I know exactly what...
Why didn't you know their names before you rang in if you know everything about their politics? Why do you think... Theoretically, why do you think you might not know their names, but you know what they stand for politically?
Mate, I got their names up on the webpage.
That's not what I asked. That's not what I
knew you were going to ask me their names because you couldn't come back with a valid argument.
I already have. I've asked you to name one socialist policy that they support.
High tax.
That's not socialism.
It is socialism.
Okay, Stuart. What do you think socialism means?
Socialism is an ideology. You subscribe to it.
What does it mean?
It's never been proved to work.
What does it mean, Stuart? For the record, I'm not a socialist, but tell me.
Look, mate, I'm in support of Donald Trump.
Yeah, I know you are.
Comments are,
and you like the racism, but what do you think? What do you think socialism means?
Look, you're not going to Wikipedia me out of this argument, mate.
I don't need to. I know what it means. Tell me what you think it means. I didn't say the word. You did. What does it mean?
It means collapse. And you know it. And you subscribe to it.
Go on.
And it will never work.
Socialism means collapse. You know it. Socialism means collapse. Yes. Do you want to say something? Do you want to expand on that, Stuart, at all?
Well, the socialist policies, mate, have never been proved to work.
So name a socialist policy, Stuart. We're back round the other side of the circle now. You can't define what it means, and you can't name a single socialist policy. What are you so angry about?
Well, I'm trying to actually speak, mate. You just constantly interrupting me and getting me to name things, right?
Yes, like a socialist policy or the meaning of socialism.
So this is what happens, you see.
I know.
A left-wing media commentator will not let someone speak when their opinion is against theirs.
What does socialism mean? You can't have an opinion about socialism if you don't know what it means. So what does it mean?
To me, personally?
No, you silly sausage. To everybody, not to you personally.
Right, socialism is an ideology. It's a political system, and it does not work.
What does it mean?
What does it mean? Look, James, I phoned in support of Donald Trump.
I know.
His comments aren't racist. Those women are...
What does socialism mean? Stuart, what does socialism mean?
So this is what happens, you see. You get someone into a dead end. Socialism, I don't know the Wikipedia... You know, you're trying to get me Wikipedia me to death here.
No, just any meaning at all, Stuart. I didn't mention the word. It's 12 o'clock. I've been doing this topic for an hour. No one said socialism except you. What does it mean?
No, everyone that's phoned in has more or less been in support of the 4/5 columners there in America.
What does socialism mean, Stuart?
Right, to all your listeners, okay, as they are listening and nodding their head, the ones that are supporting what I'm saying is, socialism is a template that the four ladies in Congress are trying to bring into America. It doesn't work.
Stuart doesn't know what it means. Stuart hasn't got a clue what it... Stuart's on national radio condemning socialism and revealing he doesn't know what it means.
Okay, it's high taxes, it's healthcare for all that doesn't work or bankrupt the country. It is attacking big business. It's an incestuous relationship between big business and government.
Sweetheart. Listen, next time...
Patronising, you see.
Of course I'm patronising you. You're a clown. You're on national radio condemning socialism and you've been asked...
You're a clown.
No, you're a clown. No, you're a clown.
And you're just as bad as those women in Congress.
And you're just as... And my dad's bigger than your dad. Mate, go home.
I just want to say I'm actually a fan of Trump, and I think there's a lot of stuff in the media which are lies.
Go on.
I don't know yourself. You're obviously anti-Trump.
No, go on. What are the lies that you're unhappy about?
Well, no, I just think you even said this morning. You said it's okay for him. What is it? The quote you used? It's okay to be racist again.
Yeah.
When? Okay. So how do you draw that conclusion?
He accused Barack Obama of not having been born in America and lying about his birth certificate.
So how's that racist?
Birtherism is racist because Barack Obama is... Well, you can't... I mean, you can talk over me if you want, Stephen, but okay, no, you crack on. There have been previous
presidents that have actually been white that have also not been accused of being born in America. So was that also racist?
No, of course it wouldn't be racist. Who was that, by the way?
I think a president from 1880. It goes back over
No, come on. You're on national radio. You've got your ducks in a row. Tell me about the last time an American president was accused of not being born in America.
I've forgotten the names. But
don't be silly. Don't tease me. Of course you haven't forgotten the name. You wouldn't come on the radio and say something and then immediately fall apart in response to the first question you're asked.
It's not falling apart.
Okay, so let's go back to the lies that have been told about Donald Trump. Which one would you reach for first?
Well, the one that you just said it's okay for the racist to come out.
Well, we've just demonstrated he's very popular with racists, Stephen. I think we can all agree on that.
Well, he's not popular with racists.
So it wasn't white nationalists that invaded the Capitol last week, then. Steve Bannon, his key advisor during the presidential campaign, who's now been pardoned for ripping off Trump supporters, he didn't say you should wear the accusation of racism like a badge of honour.
Well, that's his quote. I mean, if that's what he's saying. But the fact that you can't just say then that everyone that marched on the Capitol is racist.
I didn't. I said they were white nationalists.
Well, you're also portraying that.
So let's go back to the lies, Stephen. Let's go back to the lies that the mainstream media in America has told about Donald Trump.
Well, I've just told you the fact that he's racist.
But we've just proved that he is.
But because he's questioned someone's birth certificate, that makes him racist.
No, because he questioned a black man's birth certificate, knowing that it was absolutely untrue. So that would be called a racist lie, which is encouraged to make people who are uncomfortable with Barack Obama's skin colour believe something that's not true about him, because it then undermines the legitimacy of his presidency. So briefly, because it's not going great, but I'd like you to stick around for a little bit longer. What is it you liked about him, Stephen?
I think that he come out and spoke a lot of the truth on stuff.
Yeah, what stuff? Stephen's hung up.
James, cards on the table, Brexiteer, loving Trump's work, and
what's your favourite bit?
Well, all of it, but I think what you...
No, your favourite bit. What's the thing he's done that you love the most?
You said you bumped into Boris yourself.
Go on, mate. I just asked you a question. You said cards on the table. You said cards on the table, but you're not letting me look at your cards. That's an odd way of playing.
Because I want to just cut to the chase. Boris...
No, cards on the table. What's the thing Trump's done that you love the most?
Because he is a man of his word.
What's he done that you love the most?
Pardon?
What's he done that you love the most? You said, I'm loving his work. So what's the act of...
Because he's a politician who tends to, unlike here, do what he says.
Yeah, so what's he done? Well, what's the thing he's done? What's the act of work he's done?
I'm not in tune with the American politics.
Cards on the table, I love his work. Give me one example of the work that you love. Over to you, Alex.
Balls of steel. Okay?
No, but you're going to have to answer it before we carry on, because it's cards on the table, Alex. That's your own words, mate.
Because he's very much like Boris. He's a cad, he's a rogue, he's always...
No, but we know all that. You said you love his work. You said cards on the table, I love his work. So show me one card. They're on the table, Alex.
What I'm trying to say to you is he's a politician, but he's not the normal politician.
Cards on the table, Alex. Just show me one of those cards that you said in that really upbeat way. Cards on the table, James. I love his work. So show me one card.
James.
One card.
James.
One card.
Some people voted Brexit, others didn't. And
one card, Alex.
Carry on.
One card.
I'm not with you, James.
One card.
I'm not with you, James. I'm trying to just...
I love his work. Cards on the table. Give me one example of the work that you love.
So much work because James...
So much work. So much work. It'll be really easy to give me one example.
No. Everybody in London voted for him, remember?
Nobody in London voted for Donald Trump. Give me one example of the work he's done that you love, Alex.
People voted for Boris, remember?
Cards on the table, Alex. Cards on the table, Alex. Show me a card.
I'm just not that in tune with American politics to give you a definite answer, but I'm trying to say to you, Boris...
So when you said cards on the table, what you meant was, I don't even know whether I'm playing Snap or poker.
No, I'm trying to say to you, Boris, you have to embrace what he is, and people voted for him right or wrong. He is a bit of a clown. He's everything you said he is, and I think he orchestrated this leakage. I think a friend of that recorded that. It was all done on purpose and construed to make a lot of media interest and chaos talking about Boris. And remember, when he went on the Mar show talking about Nazanin Zaghari-Ratcliffe, he inadvertently spilled the beans of his MI6, MI5 briefings.
No, he didn't know now. So, you see, not only have you made a complete cretin of yourself, you've also just libelled the Foreign Secretary.
Why not? Everyone else does.
No, mate. You see, cards on the table, Alex. You're a clown.
All right, this is the atmosphere that Donald Trump has come into. The average Americans don't vote because they're just disenchanted with the entire thing. They think they're all crooks. It doesn't matter. And for people to scoff and say, oh, well, there's no proof of that. Oh, it can't be true.
Yes.
I'm sorry, man. I just think that's a little bit naive. Yeah, I mean...
So you're talking about an environment of... Because Trump is the crook that they thought all politicians were, but he comes...
But the thing is he's an honest crook, mate. It's like there's no... You know what I'm saying? He's not hiding it. You know, you say that, oh, Biden sounded like a statesman. Like, that's a good thing.
Yes.
It's not.
Right.
It's somebody who spent their life being a polished liar, taking corporate agenda and pushing it through.
Are you describing what you?
These are not good things.
Are you describing what you think now, or what you think they think?
This is what I believe, and this is what I've spoken to many of my friends back in America. We talk about these things, you know, and you've got the whole media juggernaut as well.
If I asked you to persuade me that Joe Biden was a polished liar, what would you do?
I just pointed his 50-year career.
Yeah, well, go on.
How else could he possibly stay in power? I mean, this is the whole
that's
thing
a question. That's a question, not an answer.
From outside.
No, I know, but I just want you to.
I'll be honest with you, man. I don't have any facts because I didn't know anything about Joe Biden before I heard his name as the elector.
But you're absolutely certain that he spent half a century lying.
If he's a politician, he's been in the job for that long. I don't see how he could avoid it.
But you just said you'd never heard of him before. Last year.
I don't need to hear.
I mean, he was vice president.
This is what I think an average American.
Shouting louder doesn't make any more sense because he was vice president for 8 years.
Right. Again, I'd never heard of him.
Yeah.
I'd never heard of him.
I mean, is it fair to suggest? Is it fair to suggest that you may not be the best qualified commentator on American politics?
I'm just trying to give you a look into.
You've given me a very interesting look, Jim.
I'm the average person as well.
You may be, but you've admitted you know absolutely nothing. But you're certain of your
prejudices?
I'm certain that this is the way that it's going to be looked at by the people like Trump's followers.
No,
yes.
no, that's why I said to you, are you telling me what you think, or are you telling me what you think they think?
I'm telling you what I think. I'm telling
and you think
what
that Joe Biden
between my friends that I've spoken to about the subject.
I understand that. I mean, I find it horrible what you're describing, but I don't think you're lying. I think you're being honest. So you can look at Donald Trump and see what you described as an honest crook, and there is all the evidence of his wrongdoing that goes back 50 years, and you know, we could make a list. We'd be here until Christmas.
Yep, the man's got immense character flaws.
Not character flaws, criminality.
I do not think he's a good person.
But then you've got Joe Biden over there, and you've got no evidence whatsoever of his malfeasance or misbehaviour, but you're absolutely convinced he's a wrong-un. So would you mind if I...
Again, I would refer back to the Panorama program that I saw, which appalled me.
Yes, but was he in it?
A news crew can go over, pretend to be a lobbyist.
But was Joe Biden in? Was Joe Biden in it?
No.
So
he was not in it.
I've got two questions. Do you recognise on any level how ridiculous you sound? And I say that affectionately.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I suppose so. So now.
And the second question is who did this to you? Where do you think this came from? Because you weren't born like this. At some point in the last 50 years, you've become a man who's absolutely convinced of things despite having no evidence for it whatsoever. How do you think that happened?
Because I have been pulled over, and I have had police in America rewrite the arrest report, and I have had basically lies told in court about me, and I have had trouble in America.
And that's how you know that Joe Biden is not to be trusted.
Experience with the establishment.
Oh, being pulled over by police in America.
That's right.
Okay. Well, it's been interesting talking to you, Jim.
I had a can of beer that was unopened.
There's more.
Unopened in my car.
Yes.
And they wrote it up as an open container. And I ended up with a DUI.
And that's how you know that Joe Biden is corrupt.
Trump, I'm indifferent to him. He does lie. But he stops the worst alternative, and he frustrates the worst alternative. I'd include you in that.
Okay.
So it sounds a little bit childish, but I think people, they do need to step back and think, why do I feel the way that I do? A lot of it is social conditioning, and it is a chance to kick the other side, and I think it is.
But then we're back to football. Why are we on different sides? I would stick up for your wife when she was being attacked by racists.
Well, so would I.
Well, I know you would. So why are we on? Why do you think we're on different sides then?
Because of the way you've been socially, the way you've been brought up, the people you met, the people who've influenced you, etc. The same with me, you know.
No, I'm anti-racist, and you've got an Asian wife. So what are the two sides you're talking about?
The left and the right, I would say. I mean, to me,
I don't know what that means really, because you know I'm probably more critical of Jeremy Corbyn at the moment than I am of anybody in the Conservative Party. So
what about the points-based system for immigration? To me, that's common sense. What's that to you?
It can be common sense, but it doesn't really stand up to scrutiny in the context of the economic impact of immigration. And of course, we could already have introduced rules regarding what financial means and what work you had in place before we left the European Union. So that for me is a red herring, but I don't mean that to be dismissive. It just doesn't actually, under proper scrutiny, make sense. And Australia has a points-based immigration, and people like your wife would be subjected to even more racism there than they could potentially be here. But I understand why you use the word sides, and I understand why you reach for left and right. Yep. But I don't know who you think is on the other side when it comes to sticking up for people like your wife.
I think it's people with
What about that Breaking Point poster, which was supposed to make us frightened of people coming here from the Middle East, regardless of whether they had any right to be here or not? Which side were you on with that?
With people coming to... I disagree with it. One of the things
with the poster?
The government...
Did you disagree with the poster? Because the reason I despise that poster...
I disagree with the poster, yeah.
Okay, but you think you're on the other side to me?
I think that the government have got lots to answer for with immigration, because what they did is, and I think Angela Merkel did this as well, she said, right, let's open the floodgates, but they did nothing to encourage integration.
Well, we've got a mayor of London here who's a Muslim. You phoned me up to tell me that you're on the other side politically to me. You can't get much more integrated than being elected mayor of a country's capital city, and Donald Trump has chosen to attack him. So whose side are you on in that conversation?
Well, I would say that the mayor of London should be concerned with the events of London.
So would I, but that's not what I asked. I asked whose side are you on in that context? The fully integrated son of an immigrant, or the racist American president?
I don't particularly like Sadiq Khan, and Donald Trump kicks him, so he suits my purpose.
So you're on the side of the racist against the Asian?
No, I'm on the side of the guy who's against the other guy whose policies I disagree with. But
No, it's nothing to do with policies. We're talking about Donald Trump's personal attack on Sadiq Khan shortly after saying people should integrate more and pointing out that Sadiq Khan's parents came here from overseas. You can't get much more integrated than being elected mayor. He's Asian. He's been the victim of attacks from Donald Trump that have never been inflicted upon a non-Asian.
And vice versa.
Sadiq Khan has attacked Donald Trump for being far right, mate, and he is. I mean, that's just a statement of record. He sympathises with the Ku Klux Klan.
See, I think
he bans Muslims. Is your wife a Muslim, or is she an Asian of a different religion?
No, she's an Asian, actually, who gets a hard time from the Muslims. I don't want to go into the details.
No, fine, but that's what side are you on? The side of the Asian or the side of the man attacking the Asian?
I'm on the side of I'm on the side of the guy who's frustrating the guy whose policies I disagree
Yeah, so
with.
you don't care whether he's fouling or not. You're just glad that the other bloke's getting hurt.
Do you know what? I think it's got down to as basic as that, James.
I
honestly.
do. I can't believe your honesty, but you're not.
Okay.
You're not in any way embarrassed by it.
It's just the way we are as people.
So he's a liar. He's a liar and a racist, but he's hurting Sadiq Khan. So I like him. I think is what you've said.
Sadiq Khan, contrary to what Donald Trump says, is big and bad enough to be able to take.
That's
that
not the point, though. I just
chin.
want to be clear that I've understood you correctly. Donald Trump is a liar, and he's a racist, and he stokes up the sort of feelings that could see your wife being victimised. But you're on his side because he's hurting Sadiq Khan, who you don't like for whatever reason.
If Donald Trump frustrates what I believe to be the detriment of our society, yes.
And the detriment of our society is people not integrating, which is why you don't like Sadiq Khan, who got himself elected mayor of our capital city.
Sadiq Khan is Labour, and he doesn't understand basic economics. Looking at the performance of Labour governments over the years, it would be disastrous.
You're jumping around again, aren't you?
Not really.
Well, you are, because we're talking about the words that you've said. Why do you like Donald Trump in the context of a battle with Sadiq?
I didn't say I like Donald Trump.
All right,
I said
you talked about
sides.
Yeah, but you talked about sides.
Yeah, I do. And I think that's what it's come down to.
No, I think you're right.
We can talk about policies.
No, I think we can't talk about policies in a conversation about Donald Trump versus Sadiq Khan, because Donald Trump's impact upon, and also Sadiq Khan has incredibly limited powers over the economic scenarios in this city. But I'm agog with admiration for you. Well, admiration is not quite the right word. Gratitude. Because you were the holy grail caller I was looking for, and your honesty is really, really refreshing. But it scares the hell out of me.